You could come on a drive with me in exotics like these. Check the description for the contest rules. Who knows, you would be with me in a supercar. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving the Maserati Ghibli. And this car comes courtesy of CL5 Automotives to me. So make sure to click on the pinned comment link and follow them on Instagram. Anyways, this is the heart of the matter. Maserati V6. It's a diesel motor. Great amount of insulation there. And this engine, just look at it. Wow, what a massive engine bay. But you know what? It does sound quite sporty as well. Now, some of the design elements might remind you of Ferrari. Yeah, of course, this is an Italian brand. Just move this around and you will get the lights of the California, which I was driving earlier today. It says Maserati here, projector setup, beautiful LEDs, really nice looking, and front parking sensors, but there's no front parking camera. Obviously, it doesn't need it. You know why? Because remember one thing, this car is a 5 Series rival. Maserati logo looks beautiful. The car is super duper sexy. In fact, the car is so sexy that people all over the place are coming and asking me, which is this car? And the ground clearance is super duper low as well, which means that clearing a speed breaker requires a lot of effort and thoughtfulness. So this is the tire of this vehicle, and as you can see, it's a little dirty right now. However, we're going to try and find the tire size, which happens to be 245/45/19. The wheels could have been a little bit more adventurous, finished in black, red brake calipers. This size is big as well, and you get this beautiful treatment here, which is typical of a Maserati. Now, when you come to the side, you realize that it's actually a very compact Maserati. So you can say it's the baby Maserati. Like, we had that baby Jack joke going on for a long time, and you get this beautiful treatment. Every side you come, there's some Italianness to it, which is really beautiful. Maserati logo here on the C pillar, chrome door handles, request sensor on the door. Again, the wheels at the rear are also very nice looking. In fact, the tire size here happens to be slightly bigger, 275/40/19s, and Pirelli rubber. Obviously, coming to the rear of the car, it says Ghibli. It's a diesel. It has quad exhaust. Yeah, this diesel car has quad exhaust, and yeah, definitely sounds really nice. Rear parking sensors, reverse parking camera, Maserati written there. Light is also pretty good, and overall the design balance is super duper awesome. It's so awesome, it's so nice that this is a car people only buy for the looks. Trust me on this, trust me on this. Anyways, let's get into the rear bench of the vehicle. Now, there's a slight problem. First and foremost, there is not much space on offer, which is very disappointing. All the doors are frameless, which means once you put the window down, yeah, it looks so freaking awesome. Yes, that is sports car territory, isn't it? So, controls to lock or unlock the doors of the car, power window, and door pocket is actually quite small here. So, getting inside, I realize that you actually sit quite like compacted inside. Meanwhile, headroom isn't that great. There's a light placement here. There's a hook along with a handle on both the sides. So decent amount of knee room, I would say, but leg room is not there. Under thigh support is decent, not that great. Seat is a bit too upright for my liking, but you know, overall back support is really very nice. You get a center armrest here at the rear, which won't open unless and until I pull it out. Yeah, there it goes. So below here you get twin cup holders, and below here as well there is storage space along with a 12-volt charging socket and a USB plug too, which is a nice touch. So red interiors feel really nice and classy in this car. Rear AC vents are placed as well, but the hump here in the center is so big that 3 people cannot sit comfortably. In fact, overall space in the rear isn't that much. Non-adjustable headrests, yeah, on the side. Center one gets an adjustable headrest, but there's no person who can sit in the center. At least till now, no human being has been invented who can sit at the rear. But still, Maserati's optimism means that, hey, why not give the headrest on the wrong side? Anyways, since I didn't open the boot, I don't know how I missed out on that. Let's open it right away. And boot is decent size. It's not really very big, but here is the manual. I love the Maserati logo. Nobody's opened the manual of this car ever. It says FCA India because Maserati belongs to FCA group. There's a 12-volt charging socket here at the rear. The car feels so fresh somehow. I don't know how. Meanwhile, spare wheel is not an alloy. It's a space saver. It happens to be a 175/55/18, and you can also inflate the tire, so all that mechanism is also present in the car. Yeah, all these things it has. That's the reason why the price is obnoxiously high. Meanwhile, you know, The mirrors are also getting the heated function, so if there's ice it can be removed. So let's first open the door for a reason, obviously. Lock or unlock the vehicle using these buttons, and this is for the mirror controls. Meanwhile, it gets memory settings, so you can save up to 2 people's settings. And this is to lock or unlock the door, which I already said. Power window controls, electric adjust for the driver's seat, and stop chiming. Anyways, front seats are really very comfortable. They're wide, and I love the red treatment. Meanwhile, here there's storage space, which is of no use. It's not that deep. That's what she said. Anyways, this is to turn on or off the vehicle. This is the engine start stop button, headlight leveler, and this happens to be the headlight control. It gets automatic headlights. Of course it gets automatic headlights. This button, which is hidden, this is to open the boot of the vehicle. It gets Harman Kardon audio system. There's space here to keep your stuff as well, the door pockets obviously. Anyways, let's get inside because this car is going to keep chiming. Meanwhile, I actually opened the window to show you the beautiful frameless doors of this car, rather frameless door of this car, which makes it look so freaking sexy. I mean, full marks for the design, but they're just charging too much money just for the design. You can see the chrome surrounds around the windows. That's also really very nice. You see the pedals also very big, and here you get the Maserati logo on the dead pedal, on all the pedals, actually not on the accelerator pedal but on the brake pedal. Meanwhile, let's close the door first. Yeah, reassuring build quality. Things are a little plain here on the inside. Now you get an auto dimming inside rear view mirror. You get a lot of lights here as well. Yeah, pretty much quite a lot of lights. And these are the controls for the sunroof. Yeah, it has got a sunroof which can be opened by pressing this button. I think let's turn on the vehicle. So there, car rolls to life. It's a diesel at the end of the day. There, we open the sunroof. Sunroof isn't that big somehow, and the sun is very bright today, which is kind of disappointing for me. Anyways, let's turn off the air conditioning, and these are the controls for the air conditioning alone. So all these controls for the air conditioning, and this is for the SD, so you can put an SD card here. Meanwhile, this is for the CD changer. Which year is this car from? Yeah, whatever. Anyways, no hard plastics. I mean, this is actually soft material. I was going to hit it with the hard plastic thought, but it's kind of soft. And here you get an analog clock as well. Right here you get a mirror along with a light, along with a toll receipt holder. On the other side as well, it's the same thing. The glove box is actually not that big, but it's a cooled glove box. Meanwhile, here there's storage space. You can keep twin cup holders, but there's an ashtray along with a cigarette lighter here. And that's not all. There is more amount of storage space right here, the storage space, and below the front center armrest as well there's storage space. And over here there are deep pockets as well, rather, for the cup holders. Now you get a 12-volt charging socket here, and you can turn on and off the cooled glove box, rather the cooled center armrest. Meanwhile, the steering is adjustable both for reach as well as rake, and this adjustment is electric, by the way. That is the reason why the car is so expensive. Buttons for the cruise control, buttons for the audio system, not really, buttons for the phone, and to go through that multi-information display. So tire pressure monitoring, and it has a menu which is so expansive. It has like 9 sub menus, so you can decide you want to see audio, video, start, stop, blah blah. Okay, there's no video, there's trip information and fuel economy and whatnot. Meanwhile, how do you actually operate the audio? Well, there are buttons behind. Yeah, there are buttons behind the steering wheel, 2 on the right, 2 on the left. One is for the volume, and the other is to go to the previous or the next track as well. We get an analog tachometer on the right and an analog speedometer, which is marked all the way to a very optimistic 270 kilometers per hour on the left. And in the center, we obviously have the multi-information display, which is, as like I told you, is super duper expansive, has a lot of information to give. Meanwhile, the screen always keeps asking you, should you accept? And you have to accept. There's no other option. Get into reverse right away, so I can show you the reverse parking camera. This is the reverse parking camera. It gets guidelines, but they're not adaptive, and the overall display isn't that great. Now there are 4-5 buttons here. Now this is the electric parking brake. This is the button to get into sport mode. This is the button known as ICE. Okay, increase control and efficiency mode. Meanwhile, this is for manual control of things. It doesn't hold on to a gear, so I don't know why that is there. This is the traction control button. Overall quality of the cabin is really very nice, especially by Italian standards, but the design could have been a little bit more flamboyant. Now this infotainment screen is a touchscreen unit. It's a little difficult to use somehow. We will quickly play an audio. Audio quality is decent. It says Ghibli right there, just in case you forget which car you're driving, because the Maserati logo is not enough to tell you whether it's a Ghibli, Levante or a Quattroporte. I never get that name right. Anyways, it's time to drive, so let's get going. Alright, we're all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning. Yeah, air conditioning off. Getting into drive mode. Yeah, we are in drive mode. We get manual for the gearbox. We get sport for the suspension. Yeah, sport mode on right now. Yeah, this is how it shifts to manual. You don't have to slide it left, it just shifts like that. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, revs till 2000 rpm and off we go. Yeah, of course, diesel torque always helps because performance is quite slick. But then there's the problem of the fact that this is a 3-liter V6 diesel and doesn't feel like one actually when you compare it to the 530D. Now, why am I calling it a 530D rival? Well, because in terms of size, it is actually a 530D rival. Forget all that for a minute. You know what? This car has a hydraulic steering wheel. That's right, a hydraulic steering wheel, which means that the steering has good amount of feel and feedback. Obviously it's on the heavier side, but yes, it could have done with more feel somehow because it's not that consistent in certain parts of the turning radius. Meanwhile, around the corners, body roll is well contained. This car is really eager and sure-footed as well, but get hard onto the gas. There's good linear punch from this motor, some amount of lag lower down, but once you get past that, there's just linear pull from the motor and it accelerates very smoothly, very briskly indeed. Now the chassis is very stiff somehow, so is the suspension, which means that the car does move around a lot over bad roads. And this isn't a car which is compliant on Indian roads because this is not made for Indian roads in any way whatsoever. Yes, some amount of wheel slip because power goes to the rear wheels only. The motor redlines at 4,500 rpm. This 3-liter V6 produces decent amount of power. In fact, it makes 275 horsepower. Meanwhile, the torque output is a generous 600 Newton meters. The gearbox is an 8-speed unit sourced from ZF. It's quite fast with its shifts, but yes, it is not lightning quick either, which means that this car is more relaxed than sports car. It's more about grand touring than outright acceleration and cornering fun in that sense. But you know, high speed stability, although good, it does move around a bit, so it's not really very comfortable as such. So Maserati has got a mixed bag here in terms of overall performance, and although the diesel engine is a welcome move on a Maserati, making it cheaper to run, the whole fact here is that the car is grossly overpriced. Yes, this car asks for S-Class money while giving you E-Class, not even E-Class actually, C-Class levels of space. Yeah, in terms of equipment, it is better than the E-Class also, but still, how many people are going to buy a car which costs rupees 1.5 crores but isn't better than a BMW 5 Series? And that was the reason, or that is the reason why Maserati has almost no presence in the Indian market. Forget the Indian market, even in global markets, their cars are not really working because I don't know why they don't think beyond that. Oh, our brand is so freaking popular and royal. You have to understand that the consumers want something which, although yeah, having all the brand image is great, also offers a lot of bang for the buck. And forget bang for the buck, at least they should have offered better handling, they should have offered more space. In terms of equipment, I have very little to complain because it does come loaded with a lot of features. Yeah, it completely bogs down somehow because just too much torque going to the rear wheels, and over uneven patches on the road there is a lot of movement. So in terms of acceleration, it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in around 6.9 seconds, which definitely feels much slower than the BMW 5 Series or 530D, which does it in 5.7 seconds. You're 1.3 seconds off and you cost 2x the price. That makes no mathematical sense whatsoever. However, the desirability levels and the fact that there are very few of Maseratis on Indian roads makes it quite desirable and appealing as well. But if you think from your head or your heart, you just cannot get over the fact that the pricing is just too freaking high for the Ghibli. And the bigger problem other than the pricing is the fact that, you know, Maserati's positioning itself is so unclear. It's not like they have made a sports car or a sporty sedan. It's more towards, you know, grand touring, and then it's right in between as well, because certain aspects give it the sporty feel and then certain aspects give it the grand tourer appeal. In fact, fuel economy from this vehicle is somewhere between 10 to 12 kilometers per liter, making it a very frugal car in that sense. Yes, it is fuel efficient, which means that when you're driving this diesel Maserati, you won't spend much on fuel, but definitely you might spend a lot more on maintenance of this vehicle, because remember, at the end of the day, the number of outlets, sales as well as service for Maserati are quite less in the Indian market. So it was a better launch because we turned off traction control, and with the traction off, it doesn't feel as mad or out of control like say a BMW 5 Series, which is just so much more tail happy. In fact, a 5 Series is much easier to drift. This car, well, the problem is that it does weigh up quite a bit. Yeah, the weight is on the higher side, and because of that weight, it bogs down the vehicle quite a bit. And yes, it is front heavy as well because of the diesel engine. Maseratis are engineered for petrol power plants, not really for diesel as much. So should you buy one? Well, at least not a new one, but a pre-owned one is very lucrative because resale value of Maserati cars aren't that great, which means that you can get a steal of a deal on the Ghibli, which does stand out on the Indian roads. In fact, people who are not even interested in cars, they come and ask, what brand is it? Well, that is because this Italian sedan looks very different and unique. So guys, this is my vlog of the Maserati Ghibli diesel, and if you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye.